Oregon began at the edge of the map, a far corner of the continent, hard to reach and harder to leave. Rails, highways, and fiber stitched us into the nation's economy and the world's imagination. Each generation built anew, bridges, ports, schools, and innovation corridors, believing progress would always find its way west. Growth came fast, and leaders sought to shape it rather than surrender to it. Governor McCall urged us to protect what was priceless, our beaches, forests, and farmland. And we did.
I urged them to come and come many, many times to enjoy the beauties of Oregon, but I also urged them, for heaven's sake, don't move here to live.
No state managed growth with greater care. We inherited a landscape still whole, communities still close-knit, and a civic belief that stewardship could balance prosperity. But the landscape has changed. 2025 is not 1975. We've drifted into unfamiliar demographic territory. Oregon now records more deaths than births, a trend that will continue for decades. Prime age earners have leveled off, while retirements accelerate. McCall's visit but don't stay has become a recipe for gradual decline. When growth ends, revenues lag, yet obligations remain. The bills for pensions, bridges, and classrooms still come due. From here forward, prosperity depends on intentional effort, and that effort begins with 5 homegrown challenges that make it harder to live and work here. Housing costs have climbed beyond reach for too many families. 100 years of restrictive zoning and limited supply left us with high prices and rising homelessness.
This crisis didn't appear overnight. It's the product of long-standing policies that squeezed supply and increased inequities.
Despite a decade of strong investment, our students are falling behind.
Oregon has poured more dollars into K-12 schools, but without coherence across curriculum, data, and teaching, those investments simply aren't translating into better outcomes for kids.
Each summer grows longer and hotter. Wildfire smoke now defines our season.
The data show that if we stay on our current path, the consequences for our most vulnerable communities will be catastrophic.
Oregon's dependence on the income tax leaves families and employers exposed when the economy slows.
You don't need analysis to see that our tax burden is more negative than positive.
Employers across the state describe a system that too often says no when it should say how.
Oregon's regulatory environment has become so complex, so costly, that it's difficult for businesses to understand it, to comply with it, and ultimately to invest more in their people and in the future.
These 5 pressures built up during years of prosperity. Now in slower times, they threaten Oregon's future. Confronting them will take a generation. And so we stand at a crossroads, to modernize or to settle. Growth, managed wisely, funds the very things that we value: good schools, stable services, and opportunity across the state. Our assets remain: land, talent, clean energy, and a legacy of innovation that once made improbable things real. The question isn't whether Oregon can change, it's whether we can afford not to.